Hey everyone, I just wanted to stop by real quick for this podcast starts and say you should like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias at John D. Klauser, literally the same name as the name that you subscribe to on this YouTube channel. So enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side.
Mark and Craig, Hot Brothers at Law. We've been warning people, if you are working for an unlicensed dispensary, an illegal dispensary, and it gets raided, you need to shut the fuck up. If you shut the fuck up, you have a good chance that we can make the case go away. Case in point, 3 employees of an illegal shop were busted during a raid. 2 of them said, "Oh, I'm just volunteering here." The third guy shut the fuck up. And the DA did not prosecute the guy who shut the fuck up. They can't prove what you were doing there. If you're a customer, a patient, you walked in to go to the bathroom, they don't know. You got to shut the fuck up, and it's Shut the Fuck Up Friday. So review the script. What do you say when the cop first pulls you over?
Why'd you pull me over?
And when he keeps asking questions?
Not discussing my day.
And they ask more questions?
Am I being detained or am I free to go?
And if detained, what do you say?
I invoke the 5th.
And then what do? You
shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up Friday. Never answer questions when the cops ask.
Have safe holidays.
Welcome to The John Show with your host, John Doogie Klauser.
All right. What is going on, guys? How are you? This is a new episode of The John Show with your host, me, John D. Klauser. This is episode 62? Wow. Can you believe it, guys? Can you really believe that we've been doing this for 62 episodes? If you've been showing up for 62 episodes, I want to say thank you so much. I don't know why you would ever want to do that, but thank you so much for letting me take a little bit of time out of your day. If you're new, thank you for showing up. I just want to say, it's a good time. It's a great time to be alive. I'm wearing these weird earphones where I have a weird echo in my microphone, but we're just going to get through it. We're going to get to it. So, yeah, again, like I said, it's episode 62. I was, guys, if you guys, kind of going off of the whole thing of that you guys are here, I'm always so blown away by it, is that, how dumb I am? This is how dumb I am, is that before this podcast, I was like, how does a boat work? I went to college. I should know how just the simple engineering of a boat is working, how it works. I should know this, but I don't. I literally had to Google and then watch a video about how the buoyancy and the width and the weight and the height of a boat, that's what causes it to bounce in the water. I feel so dumb. I'm 32 years old, and I had to Google that. I'm like, well, how does that work? You know what I also Googled today? I also Googled, what's the size difference? Why does a woman's shoe bigger than a man's shoe? To me, it doesn't make any sense, but it has to do with the width. That's another thing. Just the most, how, what? Hey, this is going to be an episode of what are the things that John's Googled during the day? But, so I Googled the dumbest stuff. What else was this had to say? Oh, did you guys know that Saddam bin Laden, he made romance novels? Real thing. In 2020 was one of the top 100 bestsellers for them. Really makes you think of things, doesn't it? Really puts things in perspectives of who you are, what's going on in your life. That Saddam bin Laden was not just the ruler of a country. He was not just literally causing genocides. He was also at nighttime. He was like, hey, I really want to take over these countries, but I how am I going to connect that Sam and Joseph? How am I going to connect these two lovers? How am I going to make them fall in love? What am I going to do? That was also running through his head. Can you believe how fucking psychotic you have to be to have the thought of I have to get rid of Jews? Jews are the fucking worst things ever. And then on the other hand, being well, fuck, how can I describe fucking a girl from behind more romantically? That's fucking crazy. That's insane. That's a level of thought that is just absurd. You know what's so funny? Like, I never thought of it up until this exact moment. I've been, what I did is I drank like, I poured like a 4 finger full of vodka, and I put it on the rocks. And then I was like, I started just Googling a bunch of random stuff because I'm like, I already have enough stuff I wanted to talk about, but I wanted to Google some more stuff and figure out what else I could talk about. And I found that out. And so that was thing. Yeah, you could just Google Osama bin Laden romantic novels. It's insane that someone could do that, could think of like causing genocides, like, just basically starving his own people, and then can also have the time to make a romantic novel. Think about it. Isn't it absurd? It's just the most absurd. Those two things. Me Googling boats and then me Googling Osama bin Laden doing romantic novels. Two of the most randomest, weirdest things I could ever Google. Ever. So, but yeah, that's where we are. I hope you guys are doing well. Some of us are getting more fully vaccinated. It's crazy, guys. I really feel like the world is slowly starting to finally go back to like how it used to be. I don't know. How is it going to be? How's life going to be after a pandemic? And I talked about this last week, where that, we're getting like in 6 years, we're going to be just like drinking out of other people's glasses, and it's going to be normal. It's going to be just a completely normal thing. But, I've been fully vaccinated for solid like 3 months now. Honestly, the only thing that's affected me since getting the vaccination, it's kind of funny. I posted a meme today saying that like people who are like, it was like two kids and a father sitting at a table, and one of the kids asked the father, "How do you know when or like what do you know what? Why don't I just like look it up, John? Like, John, you have it right here." You have it right on your phone. So why would you just not just, look it up? It's just, okay. So it's like they're sitting at a dinner table, and one of the girls like, "How do you know if someone's vaccinated?" That was the question that the girl asked the father. "Don't worry, they'll tell you." That was what the dad said. It's just stupid, kind of funny. Like, I'm making fun of myself too. I make fun of everyone else. I make fun of everybody. I make fun of like people who like, that believe in what are those what's your sign, your birth sign. I make fun of religious people. I'm also religious, but like and then like I'll make fun of someone who walks in the middle of the street at nighttime with no reflecting garter on or anything like that. I make fun of everyone, but I also make fun of myself because like just right then, like guys, we've been in this podcast for what, maybe 8 minutes, and I was like, "Oh, I've been vaccinated. I just want to let you guys know that." Like, I realize my bullshit as well. Don't think I only see other shit. I see my stuff as well. But I don't even know where I was going with that, but a lot of us are getting vaccinated. I think that's really where I was going with that. Not gonna lie to you guys, I drank like half of this cup right here. Is just basically straight vodka, and I drank half of it. And before I started this podcast, and I think I got myself a little too loosey than goosey like I normally like to be. But it's fine. It's no big deal. I picked up a phone call, and I was talking to a buddy of mine that I haven't seen in a little bit. My buddy who lives in North Carolina now. I went to college with him. And he's one of the buddies that I went to Tijuana with, and we had that crazy experience in my life. I think I've told you guys pretty much all of it. I told you guys the part where the stripper almost shoved the banana up my friend's butthole. I told the part where, actually I haven't told you this one part. I'll tell you that part. I told you guys the part where I got the hand job from the Mexican stripper. I told you the part where we bought the cocaine from the man. I don't know. Back then we called him, I know this is a word you can't, we call them the T word, trannies. I don't know. Can I not say that word? I don't know. But I understand it's a word that you're not supposed to use. But back when I was at that time, it was 2002 the winter of 2009, almost 2000, no, winter of 2008, almost 9. No, 9, 2009. We'll just say 2009, 2010, within that area. And back then, like, you could use that word, and that's what you used to describe men who men who dressed up like women but associated themselves as women. They associated themselves as women during that time. See, I don't know the rules of that, and I'm just being honest. It's so crazy is that I'm hoping that we're going to also be out of a time here soon where I don't have to like go through all those loopholes or those hula hoops, all those hoops to figure out like, hey, like I'm not trying to bash here. I'm just trying to explain the story. One day, guys, we'll be done with this. One day. So we got cocaine from this woman who had a like clearly like probably like my 5 o'clock shadow right now. And you know, it was so crazy because like it was 2 times because so we bought a bunch of weed. We bought, I'm not kidding you, maybe a pound of weed for, I don't know, like $60. It was insane. It was super cheap, but it was really shitty weed. So it doesn't really count as weed. It was just weed. But what's so cool is that like the morning that we were leaving Tijuana, we got up super early because we had been up pretty much the whole night. And we went over to the east, I believe it was like the east part of Tijuana, because we were with a buddy of mine's cousin, and he lives in Tijuana. He's like, hey, let me drive you guys over to the east corner. I'll show you this place where like it overlooks all these houses, and there's all these like cactus and all this desert, and then you see these mountains, the mountains of Tijuana, and the sun rises. It was really fucking beautiful, to tell you the fucking truth. And we just got ripped because we had pretty much 3/4 weed, like a 3/4 pound of weed left that we had to smoke. It got to the point where we were smoking so much weed that it was like, why? I don't even want to smoke anymore. Like, I'm done. I get this. Like, I get the point of what we're trying to do. But we had all this weed, and what are we gonna do? Just throw it away? I don't think we ever thought that we could just give it to my friend's cousin, and we could be like, hey, here's this for letting us sleep at your house, because it was such a crazy night. Because the one part of the story I don't think I told you guys was that I don't know why. Still to this day, I will never understand why they asked me. They're like, hey, we're going to go to Tijuana this weekend, and, you know, you're more than welcome to come. And I'm like, oh, I would love to come. But they're like, hey, you know, like, would you be able to drive? And I was like, I don't really want to drive all the way down to Tijuana. And so a couple of days went by. Then I was like over at their house again. And I was like, you know what? Hey, guys, you know what? I'll drive us. Like, no big deal. I'll do it. I really want to go because I just wanted to have an adventure. I was just young and dumb and full of cum. And I just wanted to have an adventure. And I remember like people telling us like, oh, you guys probably should not go down to Tijuana. Like, I'm like, be safe. Like, okay. And I'm like, and I was thinking like, oh, it's not gonna be no big deal. I've been to Mexico before. No big deal. I'm Latino. Like, I'm going with other Latino people. So no big deal. Like, I'm going with a half Brazilian, half Mexicano. Myself is Honduranino. And then I think a Chilean. Is that how you call it? Someone from Chile. And so I felt it was good. It's fine. It's chill. We're going to be fine. It's going to be a good time. Well, we get down there. I was driving a Honda Element at that time. I don't know. You should Google what a Honda Element. It's like a box car. It looks like a box. It literally looks like a box. And when I was living up in South Dakota, because I was smoking, like, the funny thing about living in South Dakota, I never once paid for weed. Never. Because I would, what my friends call it, they would like, dude, you just knew how to Jew yourself. You knew how to like manipulate and make contracts with people where like you were always, it was an equal trade. Like both people were getting stuff, but your little thing was a little bit better. So what would happen is like everyone would like, my friends would love to go and get hammered at these parties all throughout Sioux Falls, because that's where I was living at my freshman year of college. And so I was like, well, I don't really want to drink. I'm not a big drinker. I wasn't never that big. I drank a lot my senior year of college, my senior year of high school, and I got a lot of it out of my system. And like, it was so funny because like I came home one night, absolutely wasted. And I saw this girl that I was dating. I don't know why, because you're drunk, you're young, and I saw her kissing some other guy, and I don't know why, it just made me cry. But I cried for a little bit. My friends were like, "Dude, bro, this is stupid. You're drunk, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I don't know why I'm crying about this. This is so fucking dumb, and I'm just so happy that we're here as being friends." And like, "You're fucking dumb, bro. Calm down." And then, so when I got home, my mom was like, "Why are your eyes all red? Why are you like doing that?" I'm like, "I was just, because I saw this girl crying." And my mom to this day still makes fun of me for that. She's like, "Remember when you were dating that girl, and then like you saw her at some party and you saw her kissing some other guy and you cried?" And I'm like, "But I think it's like I had to lie." Because like, I was absolutely hammered. I was wasted. But I had to tell her one lie to cover up the fact that I was absolutely hammered. So in turn, I honestly do think that was one of the most brilliant moves that I have ever done. One of the most best chess moves I pulled off. It was literally like I got a checkmate done in like 5 turns. It was super easy. It was insane. I'm like, "John, you're just going to have to bite the bullet on one thing just so your parents never know something on the other end." Just woo. And I think it was worth it. It is still worth me getting made fun of by my mom that I cried when I was a senior in high school because I saw a girl that I liked kiss another guy, versus me like getting in trouble because I was wasted coming home drunk. But I also had a DD too. So like even though I was irresponsible about getting drunk at the age of 17 and a half, almost 18, I still had a DD. And guys, that's one to fucking grow on. That is, you know what? I have never told that story because it's absolutely one of the most embarrassing stories I ever have. There's some, how everyone has a few stories that you're just like, I am going to try to keep that one deep, deep down inside. I'm going to keep that one deep, 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 deep down. Because like, I just never want to relive that moment. I just relived a weird moment in my adolescence as a man-child growing up into a child. Still pretty much a child. Still pretty much a kid. And it's so funny because I really do try to do as much as I can not to ever grow up. I like the way I live right here. And sometimes I'm thinking, I'm like, John, maybe you need to calm down a little bit. Maybe get a girlfriend and just kind of like live that life. I've been thinking about it. Have I done it? Nope. I've been thinking about it. So, that's the thing. That is the thing. Damn. I can't believe I never told you that. I've never told that story ever. Never once. There was a couple times in high school I would get drunk because like I really felt like I knew that I needed to get that shit out of my system. The sooner I got that stuff out of my system and I didn't do it in college, I felt like the better I was going to be off. Because if I'm doing it at home in a place that's like I have basically no responsibilities. I had no responsibilities in high school. The most thing I had to do is just go to school, mow the yard, and then like go and work out. That is literally all my parents made me have to do. And I went to music classes. I took a bunch of guitar. I played the guitar, clarinet, piano, and trombone in high school. And I would go to classes. I would go to school. I would have football practice, come home, and then have to go to one of these music classes. It was insane. So those were really honestly the only responsibilities I had as a child or growing up. And so I was like, if I can get absolutely hammered during this time and do all the crazy weird stuff, drop some acid, like smoke some weed, do all that stuff like now, then when I go to college I do all that stuff, like it's all gonna be out of my system and I'm not gonna be able to, I won't want to do it as much, and I can just focus on doing other things. And again, as weird as that sounds, I really do feel like it's thinking very adult in a weird way. It's a great way of thinking like adult. Now, should you ever do it? Don't. No, Don't do that. Don't. But again, you'll get to college and end up what you're doing is like you'll smoke for free for a whole year. So you'll smoke all the pot as much as you want. And all you have to do is just drive people around because you're the DD. Which you're not really. But back then it was okay because it was not considered. It was just nothing. Because it's not like now where like there's all those things like if you drive high, what is the saying? It's actually kind of a good saying. If you drive high, you'll get a DUI or something like that. So it's like, yeah, there was no things like that back then. Again, that's another one to live on. I can't believe I'm telling all these fucking stories. These are the most weirdest stories to tell, but because they're so dumb. I look back on it like because it leads up to like the boat thing. It's like, yeah, I can understand now. You're 32 years old and you had to Google how does a boat work. See, like I'm really smart on other things by trying to evolve early, but I'm not really smart on other things. I can admit where my shortcomings are. I know what my shortcomings are. I know what they are. So the Oscars, guys, did you watch the Oscars? Yeah. See, we're gonna go do a great transition into another story or another subject. So I watched all the Oscars movies, and Nomad won. Probably the worst film out of all of them, hands down. Probably the most white bummer movie I've ever seen in my life. And the highlight of the whole film was the fact that she shit in a bucket in a van. That was the highlight of the movie. That was the only thing that was redeeming of that movie. Everything else was like all the other characters were way more advanced, way better off as characters and people. And maybe that's what it was trying to be, is the fact that like the main character is such an idiot or a moron or just so lost. And these other people have kind of like low-key found themselves, even though it's like offset and it's not the norm, but they in a weird way have found themselves. But you feel nothing towards any of the you feel nothing towards the main character at all. And so like at 30 minutes I'm like, dude, there was 30 minutes left in the movie and I'm just still sitting here thinking, I'm like, what is this story gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's going on? Because she's just like all you see is that she's in her van. It's like horribly lit, and she's looking at pictures, or she's like gluing a plate back together that it was from her parents. It was her parents' china set, and then it'll cut to like her at some random job. So she'll do some construction job. She'll work at a plant place, like a plant farm. And another one was like she worked at Amazon. Like it was just all these random jobs. And you're like, okay, why are you showing me this? Like, why are you doing this as a director? Like, why do you keep doing this? And it was just very frustrating. But then there's like movies like Sound of Metal. Amazing. Made me cry. There was literally a moment in that movie where I was crying because it was so emotional. It had such an emotional like impact that these two actors, strangers, probably didn't know each other before this, maybe knew each other's names, came together, took something that was on a piece of paper and was able to make it into a realistic moment, completely made up moment, and made another stranger cry. That's what makes a good movie. That's good cinema, is the fact that you had all these elements that came together and made something beautiful. And it was awesome because it was in the subject matter. And the subject of this movie was about a drummer who was in a band with this woman that he loved. And they were together, and they were also artists working together. And how he lost his hearing. He was a drummer. He lost his hearing. Beautiful. Such a horrific thing to happen to an individual, but such an interesting subject matter for a film. And then it's him like trying to save all this money, selling all this equipment to get the surgery, so he can get his hearing back. And then when he gets it back, it's not as good. It's not as good as like what normal hearing is, what we are used to hearing. But during that time, he learns and he grows as an individual. And then at the very end, it was just so emotional in the sense of like he has this moment alone of how the world is without any sound. And it was more of a ballet in the sense of like how it swayed with each other, and it was like the wind. You know how like when you see the wind like blow on grass or on like big trees, and it's just like it's almost like it's not like heavy where it's like and it's like just slamming down on it, but it's almost going back and forth. That's how it was. And that's how I know, like, for me, that's what a good movie is like when it just sways back and forth, and it sways back and forth, and it sways back and forth, and it sits in moments. But the fact that if a movie makes you cry, it's automatically a really good movie, because the fact that you can take something that wasn't real at all. This is completely fiction. Someone thought of this. It was like me. It was like if someone like heard my Tijuana story and buying cocaine or like smoking pot and watching the sunrise in Tijuana, which is an awesome thing that I have in my back pocket that I've had in my life. But taking that and then making it into a movie, taking 4 people from all across the world, putting together as friends that dealt with a situation in a moment in time, and now what they're doing, they're smoking all this pot, like blunt form, looking over a cliff, watching the sunrise coming over and lighting up Tijuana, Mexico. Like and it makes you cry. That's beautiful, because it's like, and even though that like that happened, but taking something similar to that and then building it into something real on cinema, because it's insane. It's an insane form of art to take a story. It's because it's such a random thing. Like, who would ever think that like a drummer and then have him lose his hearing, and then him going through life trying to become a person without hearing. But the thing is, like, your whole thing that you consider yourself as a being is your hearing, because you play the drums. You have to have the beat. You need to know how the beat is to be able to play, like, because you're the whole structure to the band. So it was such a beautiful movie. So I recommend seeing The Sound of Metal. Beautiful movie. So beautiful. The acting in it was amazing. Just the pace of it, and like how it just kind of sat there with how every scene just kind of sat alone but sat together to make a fuller thing. That's what's so awesome too, is because you could take any one of those scenes, take it and put it by itself, and that could be a short film. Just that moment. Every moment in that movie, every scene in that movie could have individually been its own movie. That's, I honestly tell you the truth, if the Oscars really wanted to have made it a really good year because of all the bullshit that's been going on, like racially, they would have done like the Chicago 7. That might have been the one, but the only thing about the Chicago 7, it made like the black person not look like the piece of shit, or it doesn't make it was it the black person got off on the thing, but it has to do with a bunch of other people that were allegedly ganging up together to cause the riots in Chicago during the election. I believe that's what it was, during the election, one of the elections. And but it was like also the fact that that's when like Hamilton got killed. He got assassinated by the government, which is also what Jonas and the Black Messiah was about, which was actually an actual beautiful movie too. Very, very. What I loved about that, it was shot like all those old, like those like movies, like the urban movies, like the urban movies back in the like the 60s and the 70s. It was shot like that, and I really liked it because like all the ones that I saw, the ones that I'm really, 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 really familiar with those kind of movies were more of like those like dark black comedy movies. So that's what I'm more used to. But guys, I only have like 40 seconds left in this podcast, so I kind of went on some tangents and I started talking, and then like, you know, look at us now, look where we are. But so guys, if you've gotten this far, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for giving me a little moment of your time. Go see Sound of Metal. Watch Sound of Metal. It's on all the streaming sites. Do it. That's the best movie. If it made me cry, this asshole who makes fun of everything, it's a good movie. It's a damn good movie. All right. I will see you guys on the next episode. All right, bye.